Share screen. Second one, share system audio. Okay. So let me know if you hear sound on the video now. Hi, everybody. Long time ago. Cool. So, are we good to go? Whoop. It's on loop. All right. So, everybody can hear me? We're good to go? Me and my wacky hair. Just waiting for a reply. Okay. Cool. Welcome. So, I'm going to be gearing this mostly to people who've already been watching the channel for a while, but I'll try and cover a little bit just to help those who haven't seen any of this material before. This kind of started with a friend of mine who's actually in the chat named Mike, who he has probably spent more time on Google Earth than just about any other person in the world. Except for maybe the people who made it. And even then, I'm not sure. And we've been talking for the last few years about this mountain, which I've made a number of videos about, called, oh, sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. There we go. Okay. Yes, wait a minute. Anybody? All systems are go. Good. Okay. So yeah. Those of you already familiar with my channel know this mountain well. This is the mountain Montgo on the Costa Blanca in the Alicante, Valencia region of Spain. And when I first started making videos about this mountain, these blurry parts that you just saw disappear weren't there. Those were added later after I made a video about specifically this section of the mountain and this section here, which I believe are not just looking a bit like an eye and an ear, but really are. And so that's a bit for people who are unfamiliar with the idea to swallow. But I'm not going to go into how I came to those conclusions in this video. I've made a bunch of them already. Oh, I suppose I need to go a little slower with Google Earth, otherwise it won't fill in. But as you see here, well, maybe there we go. If we get the right angle. So pareidolia is when you're looking at something and it's not really what you think it is when you're looking at it, like a cloud or just patterns that you see. And so this is what many would consider to be pareidolia. I believe this is a elephant, or was. May not be an elephant. It could be a vertebrate, but definitely some kind of a creature that that had an eye and had an ear and had bones and had blood. And that's what these videos are all about, is the different correlations that I've cataloged with regards to the mountain. So not only is the mountain kind of looking like a creature in a macro way, and it was a lot easier to see before everything got blurred out. For example, here you can see the head, and then this is the cutout where the shoulder would meet the head. And then at the back portion of the head, there's this curved cutout, which is looking very much like the attachment of an ear. And I didn't find out until much later that right here is the opening to a chamber, or not a chamber, but a passageway that goes in and then it goes down. And I made a video about that. It was the third video I made, called Unveiling in Titan Part 3. And it was all about the ear. Part 2 was all about the eye and the different anatomical features that can be seen there. It's actually better than it used to be, but it's still a little bit off. There's a big rock structure that you can't see here. And as soon as you back away, this thing closes up again. So it's harder to see the big picture. But anyway, going back to my friend Mike, he was looking around the plana, which is this plateau that extends where I believe the front limb and the trunk of the elephant would have gone if it was an elephant. And I'm going to show a little clip in a moment here of this cave called Cova Tayata, and some of the work that I did on it in a video called Petrified Titans and Organs Part 2, where I talk about the how and why of these theories that I've come up with. So Mike was looking around, and he is the master Starfort mapper, and he came across this ring here, and he sent me a screenshot of it and asked me to go looking for it. And it took me about 2 years to do, because even though I'm all over this place, this is not in a spot that I normally go to. So I finally knuckled down and made a special trip just to see this ring, so that I could report back to Mike on what it was, because he's the guy when it comes to mapping things on Google Earth. He's mapped over 10,000 star forts, and a whole lot more than just star forts. So let's see. So this is, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. All right. We can start with this little spot here. I'm just going to show you a clip from an earlier video, because it covers the footage very nicely, and it talks about this idea that these blood vessels, the way that they're fractal in nature, they branch off just like trees do into smaller and smaller channels, same as our lungs, same as a lot of different things in nature, like lightning. So let's just listen to a bit of this. I can check the
fractal quality. So if you have a big channel that's opening up and you're looking inside, then that's going to break off most likely into smaller and smaller branches. Okay, so if you've seen my other videos, you'll recognize this spot perhaps. This is this channel, about 40 degrees, 45 degrees going downward. And we're inside the eye of Montgo. And down that way is one of the two different entrances that go into the cavern that I show in the end of the second video. But I just I'm here with a friend, I've made a new discovery. And this section here that you're seeing, and you can see right along here, there's like a separation of tissue, and there's this big block, and it goes downward over here, and it continues down. And so you have this big area here, and then you have this blocking it. And then as I come up here, you can go around this structure, and then it opens up again down there, really big on the other side. So this structure really is kind of like in the center of the whole eye area. And if we look at this section here, it is kind of curved like and I've shown this from the other side, but this whole area that you're seeing here could be the back of the eyeball, because it's all crystalline in nature, and I'll show you what I mean by that. If you look here, this is all quartz. There's a big, big layer of quartz. Could be like a myelin sheath.
All right, so everybody's still with me? Just give me 2 thumbs up if you're along for the ride here.
It's all quartz, quartz, quartz.
So I just wanted to show this section here where there's these channels that are going down.
So there's this block that continues back that way, which I just showed as I came up. It continues here. This is cut out, but you can see even here. That's all a big, massive quartz layer. So this whole thing is covered with that. And this may be the back end of the eyeball that has remained. You know, the eye is mostly water, and the cornea would be the lens, and that would fall away, obviously. And the majority of the eye isn't still here. But
so I think this is called vitreous humor, and I think that this petrifies.
This would be a thicker tissue that anchors the eye into the back of the eye socket, and then from that come the blood.
So this is what we're looking at, the whole back side, and it's basically just one big crystalline layer, and then it has all these channels going in that are like blood vessels. And I think, I think all of the rest of it was
anchors the eye into the back of the eye socket, and from that,
I think all the rest of this is destroyed. I'm going to be doing more on caves and the relationship to eyes in a
that comes
video
blood vessels
soon.
And the optic nerve, and I think that's exactly what you're seeing here, is that it's going back, and all of this in here, this is all this quartz material. It's beautiful, really. And then it continues, and it continues down, and it goes back into that very direction where the cavern is that we explored in the second video.
Optic nerve, perhaps. So this is 2 of my friends, Victor and Andreas. They came and we
join us on another exciting
I took them
adventure
up there
of
because
searches
they'd seen a
where
few
we
of the
joined
videos.
Michael from
And they had to
Stellium7
see
inside
it.
the Pathras.
They had to see it with their own eyes. So this is the plana. We're walking, about to get to the trailhead to go up to the eye.
This is the suture that I was talking about. Yeah. So if you think of the green and the red and the yellow,
So we're standing somewhere.
So the second video that I made, I found 10 anatomical correlations just in the eye socket. So you have the placement of, I mean, obviously this is a human eye, but I'm using this just to illustrate because this picture is so good with all the different colors. But there are 7 bones that make up the eye socket, and this is the frontal bone, the maxilla, and these points where they meet between, these are called suture lines. And then here you can see the fissure for the optic nerve, and then there are these channels that go down at about a 45-degree angle, and it's similar in an elephant skull, which I show in one of the videos. I've got a video where I'm panning around and showing the actual eye socket of an elephant. So whether it's an elephant or not, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter to me because there's so much anatomically that it's clearly some kind of a creature that had bones.
line right there is exactly where it should be. It's right there.
But that means
Yeah. So this is, you can see it's this unusual overlap of rock, and that follows exactly where those 2 bones meet, the frontal bone, and then this is the I can't remember, but it's one of the nasal bones.
we're standing like somewhere in the middle.
We're kind of like right where the orange meets the yellow. That's where we're standing.
Oh. Right where the Titan meets the road. So that's the channel down.
We're pretty.
This is the only time I've ever voluntarily worn a mask in my life because it's so freaking dusty in there. It's crazy. It's super dry, and as soon as you shuffle your feet at all, it looks like snow. You'll see it in a second.
Hydrated.
Well, it's a lot wetter than last time I was here. We got a lot of rain not long ago. We had flooding about a month ago that was crazy. Cars were totally submerged.
I speeded up the audio because I can't stand to hear myself slow.
There's bugs in here. Look where last time I was here.
It's also a review, so
Okay.
why not?
So you see here, right here. You gotta throw on your stomach there. Okay, because I mean, you could try going through butt first if you want. That might actually work. I'm gonna try that this time. Last time I threw on my stomach. Good.
This is about a 5-meter tunnel. That's,
I'm
you
glad my
know,
mom
if
and
you were
dad
big,
don't
you wouldn't
Yeah,
make
even if
it.
they watch this video, they won't be able to see much. It's pretty dark. Oh yeah, I don't know if I want to do this.
It's almost like I'm done basically.
All right.
Are you claustrophobic into this? It opens up really big.
I'm like future phobic. I'm like afraid of the future.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm afraid of the
best
worry
line
about
We're
ever.
already inside.
What is this?
It was you I was worrying.
So that
Yeah.
cave goes
And birds are chirping, and there's that suture that I talked about in the second video.
yeah, this is what I was saying before. I mean, this is exactly where it should be. Over here is a cave that goes through in the 5th Unveiling a Titan video. I'll show you the thumbnail here. Channel. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, so this is exactly where in an elephant there would be a channel going through here. It's called the infraorbital foramen. We have it as well. It's just below the eye in humans, but in an elephant that's tilted like this, it would be in front. So it's just another of to this at this point. There's 56 anatomical correlations, and I've shown them all with video footage on site and photographs and compared that to anatomy. So let's see. Let me close that. Oh no, yeah. All right, so back to the this ring here that I wanted to see, but I also wanted to go back to Cova Tayata and really do some filming. And I got these great 1500 lumen flashlights online that they really light the place up. So I was actually able to get some pretty good footage. I need to, if I'm going to keep doing stuff like this, at some point I need to get a gimbal because it shakes a little bit too much. But I think the footage is pretty good. So what I decided to do is combine it. So I went to the ring, which I'll show you footage of here. And there's a trail, you can see it goes right through the middle of it, but I didn't really realize that until I was walking around because I had to go back and forth for a while. This is about, I think, 150 meters across or something. It's pretty big. And then the trail continues down steep down this canyon, and I'm going to show you some interesting things in here that are related to biogeology. Then we're going to come down and we're going to see this flow here along the coastline. And I'm going to actually go in and take you into the cave, which comes way back to the point where it's so far back you can't see any light whatsoever. And yeah, wonderful to see you all in the chat. Yeah, so next. So if we come. Yeah, so as far as I coined the term biogeology because this I think is really what we're looking at. It's grown biologically. It's not geology in the way that we were taught in schools, and it didn't form in hundreds of millions of years like we were taught. This, to the best of my knowledge, this is explained through water erosion, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. You have larger channels going into medium-sized channels that break off into smaller and smaller channels. And, this is how bone looks in a microscope. This is how bone looks when it's just sliced open. It's still got the blood in it. And this is how bone looks when there's some blood, but this really gives you an idea. And so if you think of a bone being crushed, you're going to have this thick portion here that's got very little in the way of any vascularity. That's the word for blood vessels. And then here where you have these big channels, this is called trabecular bone. And when it's really, really small, it's referred to as spongeous bone, like, because it's like a sponge. And if you imagine this being crushed, you're going to see footage later on that I believe is exactly what this would be if it was crushed and then petrified. And then we're also going to be going into what I think may be the trunk of an elephant. Now, this is a flight of fancy, really. I mean, I have no idea. If you look at this here, I hypothesize that if it is an elephant, then it must have had a trunk. And if you look, there's this flow that comes down like this, and it comes down right in this area. And I've shown I'll show it now, actually. Here we go. So let's just,
and you can see here this.
Sorry, usually when you're scanning on YouTube, it. Oh no, sorry, it's not this video. I'm done with that one. All right, I'll get this here. Okay, so let's just listen to a little clip here before we go on, because I think this will help us with some of the other things I'm going to show.
It seemed like a good theory, but I still didn't understand why I wasn't finding.
I'm referring to my theory called boiled egg theory, which is why I believe that a number of the rocks that I've found and made many videos about are actually petrified organs that have survived a cataclysm, but are not found within the body. And that was a puzzling thing for me for quite a while, because I kept finding the stones and I could see the anatomical features. First video I ever made on this subject was called Mud Fossils, the Heart of the Matter. This was back when I still thought that this was a mud fossil, because I had been watching the work of Roger Spurr from Mud Fossil University, and he was talking about this idea that most of the rocks, if not all of the rocks that we see in the world, are biology, essentially, and that somehow they fossilize much more quickly than we were taught. So I sent the stone to him, or I sent him a video of the stone, rotating the stone, and talked about the different biological features that were present, and he took no interest in it. So I made this video, and in this video I mapped out, I think it's around 20 anatomical features. The number has gone up to 25 now. I went in with endoscopic cameras to look at the inside and the chambers. You can see the pericardium here, which is this white outer fatty layer, and the heart is the organ that has the thickest of the fatty layers. It surrounds the muscle, and it's white. I'm not going to go into showing a bunch of video or pictures about that now, but anyway, wherever that's broken away, you see that it's very fleshy and red inside. And this is the aorta and the vena cava. And on the other side, which is here, you've got the openings to the pulmonary arteries. This is the isthmus, the remains of the what's known as the papillary muscles. They're the muscles that open the valves of the heart are there. There's the fatty area here between the atrium and the ventricle. This is the coronary artery and what's known as the coronary sulcus. So I mapped that out. There's a whole list there, and I show it in the video. And then I went on after that to discover a whole lot more of these rocks, like far more than you should ever be able to discover just by random chance. So that's what's known as, correlation, and some would say that it's a form of evidence known as proof by logical consistency. This is where the blood vessels would have attached, and where they've torn away, you can see that it's broken away. So that's that. And going back to what I was talking about before. So we've got this fractal nature of the blood vessels. Here's a bigger example. This is about 10 inches across. So I don't know what is that, 20, 30 centimeters. And this is a valve. And here's another little blood vessel breaking off. So this rock has been cut in a plane across here, and it's exposed half of this would have been at least 10 inches wide. And it's just, you know, it's an amazing find. This was on the breakwater in Denia, which is the city that's right next to the mountain. You get a better view of it from a distance right there. Oh, come on. Oh, no. Yeah. So that was once part of a much bigger structure, and this went somewhere in both directions. So this is dried, and that one had a little bit of a fleshy quality to it, you know, but here it's arteries blow out. So there's no, like, veins have valves, and the blood is more likely to be stored in the veins. I actually learned that from Roger Spur. And this whole idea of blood petrifying as well. You know, the venous blood, the blood that's in our veins, which is darker, has no iron, or it has much less iron in it, because the oxygenated blood, which is the red blood that's coming from the lungs, that is rich in hemoglobin, and hemoglobin contains iron, and the iron is red. So I think, you know, when we're looking at something like this, we're looking at complex biology. This is crystallization. This is I've got a video I'm going to show of this at a later date, but there's a whole line that travels. So this is like gristle. This is limestone. You see all these micro channels going through it, and then the red earth has not been deposited there by some kind of flooding. It's actually inside, and you can break away at these rocks and expose channels that will have this reddish earth in them. And iron ore is prevalent all over. You can see how red the earth is. Everywhere that it's not red, that's because the sun and the wind and the rain have just bleached out everything. But as soon as you lift up a rock, this is what this whole region looks like underneath. All right. So everybody with me still? Just go back and see here. Hi, over there. I've got, try this out too. Right, here we go. There. Hi there. There's a different view, huh? StreamYard doesn't let me switch back and forth easily between them with a button, so I had to go into settings. How's that view? All right, so I'm missing a bunch of stuff here, but still here. Good. All right, good. All right, so going back to my notes. The cave I'm about to show you is called Cova Tallada, which means the carved cave. All right, I'm about to show you. I'm showing you. It's right here. We'll get a much closer look in a moment. But the reason they call it that is because they've carved out a whole bunch of chunks. And when you see how much they've carved out, it's going to blow your mind. And they've used it to build some of the buildings in the region, like this one, for example, which is in the old town of Javia. You have two different towns. This one here, Denia, this is a big port. The boats go from here all the way out to Ibiza, which is 90 miles or 90 kilometers away. Right here is a star fort, which I'll show soon. I've got a video planned where I'm going to show some of the different star forts in this region and some of the boots on the ground from those. It's quite a remarkable structure. First time I showed it to some friends we were streaming, and someone said this looked like giant steps going up. So it may just be terraces, but it's quite an impressive star fort. You can see get a taste for the walls right there. Very cool. And then, so these breakwaters, I think they're very, very old. You've got these, sorry if I'm going too fast with the Google Earth. I'm just used to flying around by myself. So yeah, so some of these are just massive stones that are like concrete cubes that have been created, but most of this I think is chunks of Titan flesh, and I'll bet these were already here a long time ago, before all the power tools that we would need today were there for the use. So going up this way, there's the plana. A lot of this is all broken away, so we don't know what it looked like before this collapsed. And there's the cave again, which we'll come back to in a moment. So yeah, is this just random erosion, or is this formerly biology? And I am definitely of the mind that this is formerly biology. That rock was, weighs as much as a car, probably. So now we'll go back to it's another video. Sorry, I'm a little slow at this. It's my first time. Take it easy. All right. Okay, so I went down to the river. Sorry, wrong one. We're going to come back to that one. Okay.
Right.
Too many tabs open. Sorry. I'll get the hang of it. So I want to show the where to go? Sorry. Here we go. This is what I was going to put up before. This is appropriate for the current moment. There it is.
Okay, just a quick go through the pentagram.
So I called it a pentagram because when you look at this spot here, I showed you before, it actually, you can go back. Mike did it. I'm not sure how to do it, but you can. There's a slider where you can go back in time on Google Earth, and you could see that it's pretty clearly delineated. So I finally found it, and this is the footage I filmed for Mike.
Off that way and that way in different directions, going around behind that tree over there, and then across, and then another leg there and another leg here. And this is the way through. Didn't find anything out of the ordinary as far as entryways into underground tunnel systems or remains of anything beyond a bunch of stacked limestone rock that looks a heck of a lot like.
Sorry, I should have gone on big screen. Sorry about that. Focus on my hacker skills. That was a long time ago.
There's a trail now here. There's so much growth. We had like 6 weeks straight of rain, basically. The sun would peek its head out every once in a while, but for the most part, it's been pretty grueling weather for quite a while now. So spring has sprung. You can see all the beautiful yellow flowers, and grass is getting taller. Bushes have grown a ton. This whole area up here burned like 4 or 5 years ago. It's completely barren except for those trees off in the distance. That little forest was preserved, but most everything else got burned. And over there's a little clump of trees. So this is a lot of growth, just 4 years. The first things that came back were the little mini palms, these things. They were just blackened stumps, and after about 3 days after the fire, they started shooting out little green sprouts when everything else was still reeling from the burn. So those were the quickest to come back. Now we've got rosemary. This is wonderful and super fragrant and fresh. This is thyme. Always like stop and I rub this in my palms and I take a big whiff of it because it just wakes you up and it's incredibly refreshing. Yeah, and so I'm getting back towards the main trail. Came in.
That's one of the channels going down.
That crevice
That's not the
between
one I'll
those
hike down.
trees over there. That's where my bike is parked. So, yeah, thanks for joining me. Hope you're all doing well. And, take care. Keep your hearts soft. It work better that way.
They definitely work better that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was unfortunately not the most exciting revelation there when it came to, this was just stacked rock, basically. And I've shown in the 6th Unveiling a Titan video, I show that the entire region has been terraformed. And when I say terraformed, I mean terraformed because basically all over this entire region, every mountain you see, there are terraces that are made of broken pieces of limestone that go all the way up the mountains until the surface gets too steep really to safely be able to, you know, you can see them right here, to safely be able to have agriculture. So all of the stone that you see was once unbroken. And when you see the unbroken stone, it's just so, you know, it's poignant. Let me see here. Let me find a better example. There's one. Well, here's just a, you know, when you look at these piles, it's limestone, chunks of iron ore, and then you'll see some quartz mixed in, which is the petrified plasma in my world. And you can see here, this is what it looks like when it's unbroken. It's got all these little channels in it, including the holes going in, and then those holes branch off into smaller holes. And so the entire region looked like that before these rocks were broken up. You can see as soon as you break one, it shows that it's been broken. And here's the iron ore chunk to it. Make sure everybody's still seeing what I'm sharing here. Yes, good. And that's me being goofy. Let's see. Right, so I mentioned plasma.
Okay, I just wanted to
Not that.
show.
We'll come back to that one. And to that one. All right, so this is the way I went down. This trail continues down here. And it goes further. And I'll come back to that, but this is, you literally have to let yourself down on a chain. And this is an extremely interesting structure, which I'll show you in a moment. And then it goes down further. And here. Okay. Some more examples of this stone. Look at this one. Erosion, water erosion. That's how that got there. I'm sure of it. And here you can see the unbroken. So all of this was broken up, and revealing inside is this red earth and this iron ore. And, you know, you tell me, does that look like elephant skin, or I don't know what it was, but there's a thinner outer layer and then there's a deeper layer, and then there's bedrock, which is the cortical bone, I believe. You can see just how vascular they can be. And then, unfortunately, they were spraying in the skies. Okay, so that's where we are. This is the quartz that I was talking about. It's all over the place. Here you can see it. This is like a quartz flow. It literally flows, and I'll show a video in a moment that illustrates what I'm talking about. You can see all over the mountain, when you look closely, there are different channels going in. There we go. Now we're getting down to this. The cave entrance is right here. And this is a beautiful cove. If you ever have the chance to come here and snorkel, this is epic right here. And this is looking down from above. And then you can get on top where you can look down into the cave. And that's why they've got this fence here, so people don't accidentally fall in. So it's got 3 different openings there. And you can see here they've cut out a big chunk there as well. And when you see that church that I talked about before, it is so impressive. Hold on one second. Where'd it go? There it is. Church. Well, never mind. I already showed it. Right. So it's a lot to keep track of. Sorry. Okay. So coming down, I mean, here's another just massive example. They've cut out all of this, and all of this has been cut out. And there's a channel that goes right here. I'll show you on Google Earth. Except I closed Google Earth. And that's looking up. So this is all solid bedrock, and this is all broken, like the bone that I showed you. I'm going to show you close-ups in a moment. And you can see here, this looks like mud, but this is all petrified. That is actually solid stone there. There's another cave I just noticed. I didn't even see that when I was there. So that's something new to explore. And there's a couple that are higher up that I saw that I'd like to go back to. But this is all stone, and this is that stuff that they're cutting into. I think it's petrified blood. And you can see also that, here. None of the stone that's in here, not a single one is smooth, right? They're all these broken fragments, and they don't get smooth and start taking on the shape of hearts by rolling from the top of the mountain down the hill. It just, there's no way that it happens that way. All right, so getting closer to the main event here. I'm just going through some of these last pictures so you can. This is a different kind of hole. This goes straight down and it's wide, and it doesn't branch off in any direction. And I saw an interesting video one time, and I haven't come across it since, and they showed how water, this is down at water level. They showed how water, there's a heartstone there. I swear I didn't put it there, but there it is. There's another one right there. and you can see the blood vessels. Look at that. I haven't seen this on the big screen. Whoop, wrong button. Sorry. Yeah, so interesting. So these are formed actually when a rock gets in here, and then there's swirling action, and the rock slowly carves out the channel. Explain to me how that could happen sideways, though. Not happening, in my opinion. But yeah, there's one and a second one there. And just so that. All right. So this is what we're looking at. This is the trail I came down. This is all that rock that I was showing you. It's just all broken, petrified, red, what looks like, well, they call it, they claim that these are petrified sand dunes, I believe. That's the official story. I read that somewhere, and I have a screenshot of it, but I'm still going through my files. I spent the last 2 days just trying to get a better organization of my file structure. It's just gotten worse and worse because every time I make a video, I can't move files around because I'm always in the middle of a video. So it's been a mess, but anyway, it's way better now. So that is what we're getting closer to going into. So the way that I got there was through this channel. I came down around, and then I had to take off my clothes and put everything into a backpack, and then go with the current down this channel, and then put my clothes back on once I got inside. And you can see this is the runoff. This red, you'll see black runoff, and you'll see red, and it's coming from within the stone. It's not like some mineral deposits that are coming as a result of rain or something like that. And now we're getting a sense of the scale of just how much they've cut away. And the question is, are they just harvesting the material for construction, or are they hiding some history? So you can see how big it is. We're gonna be going deep back up, not in here, sorry, up to the left here. I'm always telling my British clients not to apologize so much, and now I'm doing it. They say sorry for everything all the time, except colonial invasions. Mm-hmm. All right, so anything, let me just show you a couple more pics here. This is just to give you an idea of how biological all this can look. Look at this. I believe this is the actual arterial wall, you know, or not artery in this case. It would probably be more like a capillary for the size of this creature, but those are all made out of fat, and that's my theory, is that the fat is crystallizing to quartz, and then the blood is becoming the iron ore, and the earth as well, the mud, all of it. And that is the final trip down. There's a few different ways into this cave, and you can just see this. So this layering of the quartz, I believe that this is because when the event happens, whatever this, you know, whether it's a plasma event or who knows, glittering sword, if it's a biblical event, then as things start to melt, the plasma is going to have different amounts of the red blood mixed in with it. And so sometimes this is very red, and it can be completely white as well. And I think what happens is that the electromagnetic fields that are involved in whatever the event is causing things to line up in lines. And I showed you that in the very beginning when we looked at this picture here. I think that it's not growing like this. I think that this is aligning, and I'll show you just some amazing shots here. Oh no, I don't have them. Shoot, I thought I had them picked out. Well, when we're watching something else, I'll find them and come back to it. So, yeah, let's take a look without further ado.
All right. So I'm pretty excited about this. I've come back to Cova Tallada, which is a place I've been to half a dozen times, but every time I've ever been here, I've always been in this cave with my phone as a flashlight. And today I've come back with two 1500 lumen flashlights so I can take a look at what this place really looks like, because it's huge and it goes back. And the reason it's called Cova Tayata is because if you can see, there's lines up there. These are actual cut marks. They've carved out blocks, huge blocks, and they've used them to build, among other things, the church in the old town in Javia, which I'll show a picture of here. But this whole section here has been carved out, and then there's a naturally occurring ramp over there that goes up. So I'll come out that way, but I'm going in this way, which this is hard to get an idea of the size, but this is we're looking at something that's like 2 semis wide or even 3. So they've just carved all of this out of here and taken this, what I guess they would call this petrified sand dune, is something I learned the other day when I was reading the official geological story on. Oh no, this comes to an end. Okay, I thought this went around. All right, so I'm just
Kinda like my live
and then I'll start it back up when I'm on the other entry. Oh wait, no, it's right here. All right, I thought that looped around, but it doesn't. So this is this is the entrance into the deeper portion of the cave, and yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see what the roof of this looks like. Wow, these carved marks, it's like it's cavernous up here. Even the roof has them, the markings. So that is probably 20 meters high, maybe, and just carved away. There it's uncarved. So we got two parts. This has all been carved, perhaps defaced. And yeah, I'm hoping you can see this well. This just sticks right up in the middle. It looks like they carved right around it, but they left it. Probably didn't want to risk damaging too much of the support. So this going uphill now, and that is a path there. That's how I came in the first time, in the dark with my phone as a flashlight. Good thing I didn't drop off of that. But over that hump there, you go down into that ramp that goes up from the outside, and and all of this has been cut. So you can see the saw marks there. Some people coming the other way. I hope I don't blind them. Be careful with the flashlight. Oh, that's interesting. Looking very fleshy. A combination of limestone and looks like iron ore. So I'll come down this. Huh.
I don't think it changes very much either.
Hello.
Hello.
So it goes way down there and then back there, which I'm going to go to in a second. I want to blind this guy. More of that red up there. Ooh, slip sliding away. Here we go. All right, got some traction finally. So, what do we have here? Low ceiling. I'm crouching down, and even here it's been all cut up. And we're gonna come around.
This is one of the frustrating things about being in here is it's impossible for me to know like how much did they cut away? How big was it originally?
Some more people coming. Hola. So, come up.
Or just a question for future streams: Is my audio now the same as the audio of the video I'm playing?
Now we're getting back towards the end. There's a bit more to go though, but so this is all cut. It's really interesting, all this material. It's almost like a walkway. This is really wonderful. These little square things that have been carved out, and the water drips down from here into this thing. And so when you're by yourself, you can turn off the light and just be in complete and utter silence, and you just hear the little drops of water drip, drip. So unfortunately, I was hoping, from a biogeological perspective, like, is there anything at all to look at in here? And all of this, I mean, there, even this has been
cut up.
This has been all cut. I want to know what it was like before.
Watch the light here. Oh, isn't that amazing? I'm gonna back that up.
This has been all cut.
Watch the light on the water.
I want to know what it was like before.
Woo.
Another one of those catches the water. Good thing to know about in a drought, I suppose. This looks like something that came down. Didn't come down all the way to there. Wow. Quite the job to pull out of these blocks. Pull all these blocks out of here. So still going back. I think this one just dead ends.
Now I had to crouch down really far. And right back there
Goes
is
around
the
corner.
only, like, one of the only things that I
Now,
saw
this
in the
looks
entire
uncut
cave.
here, and look at that.
You gotta look at-
Interesting.
Imagine, I mean, the whole cave must have looked like that inside, but even thicker.
It's got a little bit of a biological look to it. And there's a bit of the natural formation of the cave. This is like the only part that hasn't been cut up that I've seen. Ooh. Look at this. No. Wow, it's getting smaller and smaller. Look. And then it goes down that way. A little too big for that hole. Does kind of look like petrified sandstone, though. And even here, all cut.
Just keeps going back. I'm almost to the end, though. To be there and to turn out the light, it's the only thing you hear is the drip of the water once in a while.
Here.
And it's the darkest you can
coming
possibly
in?
imagine.
Sure is looking like it. Oh. Yeah, I don't see it going further down that way. Oh, but it does open up over there. What do you know? More to see. Holy moly. It's a big cave I've never seen before. Okay. Well. Or maybe no. I guess I did go around this way before.
Can you believe that? Of all places to have graffiti.
Little
So you'll see when I show you the final pictures leaving, there's a section at the very beginning of the trailhead. So people put a rock at the beginning of the trailhead, and then they put a rock at the end of their destination. So,
stacks of rocks showing us it's the end of the line.
yeah, so I saw somebody in the chat mentioned melted building. I don't believe so. All of the rock in this region has a very biological look to it. And the eye and the ear, to me, completely fly in the face of that theory. But I think it's true in some locations. But I think this would more likely be striations of muscle, muscle fiber. And that's what I think.
Sorry if the camera work is shaky. I brought one of those little selfie sticks, but the thing's wobbling more than my hand, so yeah, well, that was something I've been wanting to do for a long time and finally did it. It was definitely interesting. I had no idea how much they had cut out of this place. All right, well, I guess I'll film again when I'm walking out. Just
So this is just one of the biogeology tidbits that I did. There's a dozen or so of them.
A few months back,
And
my friend Howard and I were hiking on the north side of the mountain.
so we went up to this location we found. This is on the other side of the mountain, where there's a cave coming in here and going across here. And it's a short video, but I'm not going to show the whole thing. But it's in the biogeology playlist and or the tidbits. So I'm talking about fat and the different kinds of fats and how they manifest here, in my opinion, in the form of petrified arteries and blood plasma and all of the fascia and the different tendons and ligaments. All of that is made of fat. And so I believe all of that petrifies into crystal in different forms. And this was amazing to go through this channel here. I got about halfway through it before I realized this section here, it gets clearer in a moment. But this is another about a 10-inch thick layer of crystal, like on the back side of the eyeball, But here it would be an artery, and it continues for about 10 meters unbroken, this big, massive hanging layer of crystal. All of this, that's all quartz. So it's just another example in the mountain, and there you know, again, is this is a totally different kind of rock here, and this is the crystal that I was talking about. So it's like separated from it, but originally, an artery would have gone through a structure, and it's still going through the structure, in my opinion. There's some more of it, and I keep going through. It's about 15 meters, and I come out the other side, and I think I turn and get a good look again here. Maybe I skipped it. It's the problem with my video player. It doesn't give me little previews when I scan like that, but the YouTube videos do. Yeah. So you can just... It's all just one big giant layer of crystal. So that's, if going back to that first picture that I showed of the video with the blood vessels and the fractal nature of blood vessels, it's exactly what we're seeing all over the mountain. Now that might be consistent with root structures if this was one of the ancient trees, but I don't think so. I think that there's really nothing tree-like. If you want good tree footage, Hangman 1128's footage is incredible. It's undeniable in my opinion. He's got all kinds of different forms of petrified sap. He's got all of the tree rings, and we're talking about trees that were miles in diameter. And it's mind-boggling, the whole thing, really. But Montgo doesn't have those same features, and I've chatted with him a little bit in email. He watched my videos once a long time ago. He sent me an email, and at the time he was on board with it. But later in an interview with I can't remember the name of the channel, he kind of backtracked on that. So I'm not sure where he stands now as far as my work and how it fits in. But to me, if the giant trees existed, I'd have no problem imagining that this is how high up that cave was. I have no problem imagining that giant creatures existed if giant trees existed. So on a clear day, and this was one of those clear days, from the top of the plana, you can see well over 100 miles, which is really astonishing. It's almost like the light is bending around the curve or something. And that's Howard and I. We discovered that together, that section. Geobiology tidbits. All right. So that was inside the cave. And we're going now... Wait, let me just check in with everybody. Yeah, so is it normal to have like a 12-second delay between the stream and the chat? Looking through the eyes of Bob. Yeah, so one of the things that I think is that there's a fractal nature to everything, and that there's titans probably, and then there may be even creatures bigger than titans. In fact, there's a great little clip. Let's see if I can find it here. No, it's about Guardians of the Galaxy, and this idea that they're basically terraforming and mining the skull of a giant titan out in space. I was introduced to that by 13th Monkey, that idea. He still thinks we're living inside the skull of a giant titan, and he may be right. You never know. So a little bit more footage inside. This is as I come back out into the mouth of the cave now.
Okay, so that was the end where I was hanging out there for a little while. It's really wonderful. Turn off the lights and experience true darkness.
It's interesting, this pathway. It's like it
I
was.
guess they built this as a way of getting the blocks in and out or something. Inside the belly of a creature. The petrified trunk of an elephant, perhaps? Hard to know what it was like before they got to it. Oh, there's another one of those things. Look at that.
That was a good
Just
quality.
tiny little traces. Makes you wonder what they took out of here. One of those things. Look at that.
Hard to pause it. There we go. So you can see it clearly. It's hard to tell if that was quartz or not, but all of that's gone from the inside of that cave.
Just a tiny little traces. Makes you wonder what they took out of here. Stuff like that sitting there. All right. So we're going to take another way out. That's how I came in down there. And we're going to go up this way. A lot quicker when there aren't other people to worry about. Yeah, all cut. Cut. Wow. Holy shit, I'm glad I didn't know what I was doing the last time. Definitely better than the low road.
Fools rush in where angels fear to tread, right?
All right.
I started. Oh, that was something I was
So,
talking about before.
massive
inside the eye. So after you go down that long, narrow channel that's like 5 meters long, it opens up into a massive cavern. And if you look at the structure of a skull, you have the eye socket, you have the sutures, you have the points where they meet, you have the infraorbital foramen, you have the fissures going back for the optic nerve, and you have those angles where the bones are meeting. And I'm not even sure how to show that with my hands, but going down and backwards, and then that enters into the sinuses. And that is where that cavern gets huge back there. And there's some places I still haven't been able to explore because we didn't have the right kinds of filtration from the masks, and the lighting was terrible. So yeah, so that's something I was talking about before that I didn't
Cave, huh?
get to.
But really altered from its original form. So now we're coming down this land bridge. Who knows, maybe they made it in order to get everything in and out, or
So now that's like 10 meters down.
is, I don't know. There's the two
So now
nostrils of the elephant.
it's absolutely amazing. So I had to the right of this, I had to swim in, and right here as I came in, this is real shallow. This is only about a foot deep. And as I came in, there was a big rock, and there was a German family that were eating snacks, and I took my clothes out of my backpack and put them back on and put my shoes on. And right as I finished dressing myself, I looked down at my feet below me, and let's see, switch cameras. There we go. Let's see that. It's not the best lighting. Maybe it's better. with the other camera. I'll show you with this camera instead. There we go. So I'm going to do a live stream with the heart stones and show you some of the best ones. But this is really fleshy, and when it's under the water, or when it's wet, it's absolutely amazing. So that was literally the first rock I saw as I entered the cave. What are the odds? And then, since I'm already on the subject of synchronicity, and so the other day I was out and I was walking, and I looked down and I saw this, and it was buried. It was buried in the ground, but it was buried like this way in the ground. So like if I turn it to the side here, you can actually see the line where, wait a minute, just make sure everybody's seeing this. I should trust that it's working, but yeah, so there's a line here where it was buried in the mud. So I looked at this and I was like, okay, this is a scientific experiment. Well, it's not an experiment, there's no manipulable variable, but it's a test, right? It looks like a heart stone that I've made lots of videos about. It's got a harp shape. It's got this line which is the suture line where the folds of the heart meet. I've made videos about that as well. It's even got indentations right there for the vena cava and the aorta. So I didn't know that though, because that was underground, right? All I could see was what you're seeing right now. And so of course I had to dig it up. And when I dug it up and I saw the other side, if anyone's been watching my videos, you know how often that shape repeats itself. We've got the tapering in, we've got the faceting. So I literally guessed what this rock was going to look like on its other side before I pulled it out of the ground, and I was right. So what are the odds of that? That's called proof based on logical consistency. It's the repeatability of the phenomenon, which is not being addressed by mainstream geology. At least I haven't been able to find any traces of it. In fact, the term heart-shaped stone, not petrified heart, but heart-shaped stone, is something that Harry Hubbard and Frank Aon coined after going through the stones that I sent them for laboratory analysis. And they don't think they're heart stones. But that's an interesting long story in and of itself, because I sent them originally thinking that there was going to be some laboratory analysis done, and they claimed to have done it, but they didn't offer any evidence of that fact whatsoever. I'm just going to show one last one. I had pictures to go with this because I found this one last night at sunset when I was walking. No, I've got to find the pictures. I'll find the pictures while they're on my phone. That's why I didn't find them. Just in case you wonder what you were looking out of. I'll see if I can find those pictures in a moment, but we'll just continue with this for now. This is different. This is bedrock. It's totally different from all of the other stone. Very red. And this is all solid iron ore. Looks like petrified blood flow, doesn't it? I think that's exactly what it was. This whole bridge here is iron ore. I didn't realize that from over there. All right. Good. So I came in that way. And whoa, just turn off the flashlight. 1 second. So there's a little current, a river to the right, and
I'm not showing the camera.
I had to take
Shit.
off
Sorry about
my
that.
clothes and put my stuff in.
Rookie maneuver. Yeah, sorry. I just realized. So this is what I was talking about with the.
Who knows? Maybe they made it in order to get everything in and out, or
I need a third screen
Or is-
so I can see
I
the
don't know.
chat while I'm doing stuff.
there's the two
I'm gonna end up a Luddite if I.
nostrils of the elephant. This is different. This is bedrock. It's totally different from all of the other stone. Very cut and very
3
red.
times a week.
And this is all solid iron ore. Huh. This whole bridge here is iron ore. I didn't realize that from over there. All right. Good. So I came in that way. And whoa, just turn off the flashlight. 1 second. So there's a little current, a river to the right, and I had to take off my clothes and put my stuff in the backpack and then go with the current down this little like waterway. And today there's quite a bit of waves, so that was interesting. Then I put my clothes back on over there and went up there. So now going yeah, all of this is iron. It's so petrified Titan blood. Ooh, look at that. There's a cave I don't remember. What secrets will it reveal? Nope, not much. Just comes to an end. But now tell me that doesn't have a more of a biological look to it. These little channels of varying sizes going in different directions. Doesn't look like something formed by water erosion to me. Slippery. Okay, almost done here. So, take a look at this massive boulder here.
Elephant booger.
And, oh, how cool. Not sure what they're doing. Toasting. And yeah, that's the one from above that I showed you before. So this is what it looks like on the inside. And that's interesting. That shape. That looks more like it might have looked before. So, like, are those striations of muscle? Whoa. Interesting they wouldn't have cut this all up too.
I just want to pause it because I saw Ron Shackleson said you should get a DNA sample from the giant elephant. That was originally something I thought about doing, but I question whether it's even possible because the forces involved in this petrification are very likely to break all of the molecular bonds that make up the proteins of the body, which, that's what DNA is. So I don't know. Roger claims to have gotten 3 different DNA tests and proved that his rocks were originally humanoid, I believe, if you can believe the laboratory and Roger.
At least they left a little.
Even cut into this boulder. So, let's see if I can get down from here. I'll just show you the last little bit of the cave, and I can head home happy that my work here is completed for the time being. So I'm gonna go out that little secret way there. Not so secret, really. Pretty easy to spot. The best way to get in and out of this cave would be by kayak. Oh, how about that? There's a little natural reef there. It's an amazing spot to snorkel in the summertime. Or even in the winter if you like cold showers. Yeah, so I'm gonna go out this way. And you can see the ground also. Yeah. Alright, so I stopped the camera because I needed to use my hands to get out of there. And let me show you the last video that I took there. Oh, one more thing. So either way, you either have to enter swimming that, or you have to navigate this to get in, unless you come with a boat or something. But yeah, and the trails in are a little challenging, but it's worth it if you're nimble. Oh, one more thing. So either way, you either... Yeah, so let's see. I think I covered all of that. It's such an amazing piece of rock. I was describing before blood plasma petrifying into quartz, and it's not such a far-fetched idea if you understand that plasma is 55% of the blood, and so most of that is water. And when you take it, you break it down, you get these things, but these are your yellowy fats that are, this is, so the red blood vessels are floating around in this yellow fluid, essentially. And, all these different kinds of fat that we consume are basically long chain fatty acids, and they all have this yellowish color to them, as does all the quartz. So if you took all of the water out of human albumin, so albumin is the that part of the plasma that's yellow, and removed all the water, this is what you would get. That's actually human albumin. So kind of looks like quartz crystal, doesn't it? Not such a far-fetched idea after all. And here's the blood plasma in situ, as they say, in its spot. And this is what blood plasma looks like under a microscope. Interesting, huh? Oh, here's another picture of the church. It's hard to really get a scale of this. This is so massive, but like from here to the other side is like 10 meters at least. It's a big church. So it's easy to see where they put all the rock. I think I'm almost done with this portion. Here's some more examples of plasma. Look at this. It's just amazing. all crystal. It's remarkable, isn't it? And now sometimes those crystals line up, and I think they're lining up with, magnetic fields.
Looks like it's melted there.
Yeah, you can actually find it with actual melt. So it can be anything from smooth and melted and having no grain whatsoever to this chunky crystals that are all going different directions. And then a couple of other examples, which I'll look for in a minute. Yeah, so I think we're done with what I wanted to show you there. This is an aerial view of what we've been looking at with an actual photograph rather than Google Earth. And this is all curving this way if you look at the mountain, and then that is where we were inside going back this way. And this is the trail out, and then the other stacked rocks that I was talking about before. So that is everything that I wanted to show you there. Perhaps this, wait, let's just see. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to show you before. Here you see the quartz is just caked to the outside of this. This is the outer side, unbroken, channels going in every which way. And then this other side, which...
I filmed this one before, but I'm not sure where the video is, so I'll just talk about it again. You can see the openings here, which I believe are the remains of trabecular bone and the blood vessels that go through it. Here you've got quartz on top of the outer surface of the bone, where you can see this. It's very smooth, but there's all kinds of lines that I believe are micro blood vessels. There's some accumulation of quartz there at the top, and if you see over here, this is the broken surface. So like that was the outside of something bigger, and this is the...
That's what the entire region looked like before they terraformed it.
Quartz accumulated
and that's
here.
Guaranteed.
And I believe this is the petrified
Because all of these terraces,
plasma.
They're all made of these broken
the reddish earth
stones.
And the iron ore, which is also caked throughout all of these, is the remains of the red blood that has hemoglobin and is rich in iron, and that's why it's the reddish color.
And that's pretty repetitive at this point. So there we go. Let's see here. All right. So got some more stuff. Should I keep going? Ooh, hour and 42 minutes. I do have more things to show if people would like me to keep going. 92 watching. I guess I'll just keep going. So I'm going to touch on this a little bit more in one of the future live streams. But if you look at this stone here, you won't find a single one of these smooth stones. Or if you do, it's probably going to be shaped like a heart, because this is just what all of the smallest pieces of these broken stones look like all over the region. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There are no lines going through the middle of them that look like sutures to hearts. This isn't something that's going to roll around and bang around in a river bottom or something, and then magically become one of these heart stones. And on that note, let's talk about this a little bit here. So I went over to my good friend Alex's.
Okay.
Well, I'll let me speak for me.
So I went down to the river bottom, and in 15 minutes I gathered these with the intention of coming here today and trying to slice them open with this one. We've already gotten through that one and filmed it.
Oh,
I'm going to just
I
draw
did it
some
again, didn't
lines
I?
on these so that people can
Let
see
me back
what
it up. Sorry.
what I'm... Okay, so I went down to the river bottom, and in 15 minutes I gathered these with the intention of coming here today
At least I
and
caught it
trying
myself.
to
that time.
slice them open with this one. We've already gotten through that one and filmed it. I'm going to just draw some lines on these so that people can see what what I'm expecting. Like this is going to be a line across here.
I didn't explain why, but the reason
and
I
then
chose
we'll
the lines that I
continue
chose
with
is
the others,
because
see how
I
far we
wanted
get.
to, if these are hearts, then I'm looking for there to be anatomical features inside. So when we slice across here, that's just going straight across, like where you've got the maximal amount of possible things happening, right? That's why I chose that fatter portion, the top third. And in another video that I did called Broken Hearts Tell Tales, I went out and found a bunch of these rocks and then basically just smashed them open by throwing them against each other, and didn't really feel good about doing it, but I'm doing it in the name of science and trying to reveal the truth. But it was amazing. In fact, I think I'm just going to pull up that video just so people can get a sense, because where is it? Here we go. Shouldn't take me long. Like I said, I spent a whole bunch of time redoing my file structures, and so that I can get around quick. And here it is, Broken Hearts Tell Tales. So I'm just going to skip towards the end here. Look at
microscope,
that.
taking a close, it's almost...
I mean, someone asked me after I made this video, did you, hold on, let me just back it up a little bit. Did you try wetting the rock to see if it smelled? And I didn't. It would have been interesting though, because I probably would have been able to smell something fleshy. So a lot of these rocks are just solid white, and that's actually because, so you have the white, that's the outer pericardium, and then inside you can have the reddish blood like I showed, but also the biggest portion of the heart is not the red. I didn't realize it, but you can actually go in and you can remove the blood from hearts entirely. And when you do, let's see if I can find a picture of it real quick here. When you, so this is an example of what the pericardium looks like, how thick it can be. Sorry for the squeamish, but it is biogeology after all. So elephant heart, giraffe heart, big variations in size. I think this is a snake. No, it's not a snake. I can't remember what that was. So we're finding the same things in the stones, and this is what the hearts look like when all the blood is removed. So what would make that happen naturally or through some event, some cataclysm? I don't know. Someone else is going to have to figure that one out. But the repeatability of this phenomenon and the frequency and the ease with which I can find these stones, sometimes they've got the remains of the blood vessels in them. My daughter found that one. Sometimes they're really big, and you can see again the opening at the top. They'll have lines in them oftentimes, which are the suture lines. Like you can see that here. And so there's a line there, and there's a line there. And if you look at the heart, when the heart is unraveled, where is it? Just had it a second ago. wasn't planning on going into this. I'll cover this more in a future video. But anyway, so the broken hearts do tell tales. You crack these open, and you can see not only chambers and the remains of the blood, but you can also see the papillary muscles, which I showed in that first video. Like here, this is called the isthmus, and then there's the opening to the blood vessels, and that is basically what I was showing you before in that first heart that I went through. So, and I just had something else I was going to show you, but I lost it. Ah, the sutures. Here we go. So the heart, when it's unraveled, you know, this is what it. Careful, this is a little gruesome, but this is what it looks like in the body, and all of this is gone when it's petrified because these are hollow, and they just burn away, in my opinion. And sometimes you can see the fat has remained, and sometimes it's just white. And this is what I was looking for before. That's that isthmus and the opening. So this rock now, I think I've cataloged 25 different anatomical features in that rock. And they come in all shapes and sizes, from little to big. And then you'll see this one has the isthmus as well, and so does this one. And both of these, this one and this one both have aortas on the backside as well. Yeah, so just to show a little bit more. That one didn't have much, you know, it's just white inside, but little hints.
So I got you raising your eyebrows, and this one will. There's your aorta, being a cava. The reddish color. It seems that the reddish rocks are far more likely to have an interior that looks a lot
the
more
one I
like
showed right at the beginning.
chamber.
Look at that. Come on. It's white on the outside and it looks like that on the inside. And this is crystalline also.
Chambers and blood vessels of a heart. This one is almost dripping with blood. It's in time for Halloween. Next, I'll be getting a microscope, taking a closer look at these.
Yeah. We'll be
If anyone
doing
knows
that.
of a
We'll be doing
cheap,
that on
great way
live
to
stream for
test that material for
people who are
DNA, I'd
interested
appreciate
in
it.
Ah, that's what I wanted to
Sorry,
so
papillary muscle.
there is the
There as well.
that's the papillary muscle it's remaining that would open the valves.
And this is just spectacular on the inside.
There. And then there's a big one.
And there's
I think
there's-
Alan, the first time Alan saw this video, he got really excited about one of these rocks. Sorry, Alan is with Mud Flood was Armageddon. He approaches all of this from a very biblical perspective, but is also scientific-minded.
broken hearts, tell tales. Thanks for watching.
Ah, no, it wasn't in this video. Shoot, the one I wanted to pull out was in a different video. Sorry. Anyway, it's just another one that was already broken before I got to it, and it had very, very clearly defined papillary muscles. So now we can continue with this.
Okay.
And again, I found these in about between 10 and 15
And that
minutes.
is
What are the odds of finding that many
10 minutes.
with so many of these characteristics?
15 max of gathering in the river bottom. Got the big orgals. See a sulcus line there.
And on the front as well.
And Hey, it's a big something. All right. Very good. And the one we already cut in.
So this is my buddy Alex. He's helping me here. He had a grinder, and we got through these things. Look at that.
Well, I think we're going to need to polish it to really get a sense.
It was so bright I could hardly see the rocks.
Because I see...
I mean, a little speck of water.
I see what appears to be green, but that can also be from the blade itself. Oh yeah, water. Wow, interesting.
You got the shadow. That's better.
Yeah, it definitely has some stuff going in there. That could be.
Well, this is the.
That could be like a coronary artery. That's the saw blade.
That's the blade,
ah,
yeah.
okay.
Because I cut it this way up to that point, then I flipped it over and I didn't
Alex,
quite match
the
the angle.
flatter
So
thing.
that's just a ridge there. From
Yeah,
the
it'd
blade.
be interesting to see if we get more detail with a polish.
Anything bigger than that, you're going to struggle a little bit to get a flat all the way through because the blade just won't go all the way through. It's like 100 mil there, or if that, what's that? Yeah, about 80 mil.
Well, it didn't take long. I mean, we could go through several of them, right? Those others, no?
Yeah, we could.
But I mean, we don't have to go the biggest ones.
I mean,
It was messy work. I would have put some of his music to this section because nobody does truth music like Alex does truth music, but he's got, it's all through TuneCore and everything, and I would have gotten nailed for copyright. So that's his studio where we, after we cut through all those rocks, which I've polished one half of each of the rocks, and I'll show that in a future video. I'm going to show just a clip of what some of them look like. But we went back to his office and his studio, and he was working on an awesome song at the time. This is him. He remodeled this whole thing himself. He's got a video on his channel. It is amazing. He literally filmed the whole thing and sped it all up. So in like 20 minutes, you can watch him go from like top to bottom. People have been accusing him that there's a whole team of people behind him. He's the team of people behind him. He is friggin' genius. And his music is amazing, and his videos. And I'm proud to call him a friend, my best friend. So yeah, he does it all and doesn't need any help. Work in progress, huh? Master at work. I've heard it rumored that he shares a birthday with Mozart, which wouldn't surprise me at all. I can do any style as good as anybody else and play just about anything.
Lower. That's the shit.
So then we went out for a little evening, shoot some pool. How about that? It was all he could do to keep himself from going over and talking to him. I had to hold him back. I don't know. This is what he looks like when he's happy. Yeah, 13th Monkey's got it. That's from I Don't Want to Talk About NASA. It's a great story about how that that song came about. I'll tell it sometime, but not now. So he was telling me something about like the horizon's flat, so the world's flat. I mean, come on. Can't really believe something like that, right? Or can you? All right, so this is of all the stones that that I grabbed that day that we sliced through. This was by far and away the most beautiful from the outside and showing the most features. It had the indentations for the blood vessels, and it had the tapering. It even had the twist at the bottom. That's a very specific feature that I recently discovered. That you know, because as the heart is contracting, it's got this spiral that it does, and so the if you look at the rocks from the bottom, you'll see that they twist to one side or the other, and it looks like a propeller. So this had that as well. So this would be like, you know, on the Wilkerson scale. You know, I've got this list of like 25 different characteristics. Let's see. Where is it? I'll just show. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Here we are. Yeah. So this is the evaluation criteria. So this is just talking about all the different things that I've been talking about. And some of the rocks have like 10 or 12 of these features. Some have 5 or 6. I've only found one so far that's got all 24. And the weird thing is that it is the first one I found that led to me discovering this pattern and discovering all these other stones. So how's that for synchronicity? And I had asked God, the universe, to give me a mud fossil example that was undeniable, because I was so frustrated by all the people that were just, they were showing rocks and they were claiming that they look like things, and I could not see it. And I have studied a lot of anatomy. So yeah, careful what you ask for, huh? The back side or the front side. That's the front. That has the faceting that I was showing you before in the other rock that I pulled out of the dirt. And look at this. This is just amazing. When those are the back side. Those are the indentations for the blood vessels. I hope I'm still showing my screen. Good. Yeah. So notice here, this is quartz. Perfectly consistent with my theory. So this is either like the top of the chambers in the heart, or this is a blood vessel. And at this level, I would like the blood vessel should be out here if we're talking about the coronary artery. So I think this is the top of one of the chambers. But when it gets, whoa, sorry for that sound. I should have edited it from the video. That one is broken at the top. So these are, I believe, blood vessels, and this is the saw blade, and this is the saw blade as well. But looking very blood vessel-y, and I didn't pull up any pictures, but we can blood vessels of the heart. I've got some amazing pictures, but I don't want to go looking for them. But you know, this is what we're looking at as far as the kinds of you know, branching that's going to be happening all throughout the heart muscle. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show. So yeah, take a cross section across there, and you're going to get something like this, and then it's going to go down and disappear. I'm going to save that one. Actually, that's a good. Yeah. Back. This one we didn't slice open, but I just absolutely love this rock. This is another thing I haven't talked about. So this white here is the fatty portion that hugs the sutures. And then the bottom right here, this has a curved underside. So you get the twisting of the bottom, like I said, like a propeller. You have the curved underside, and then a faceting on the front. The tops will be flattened, and they'll either usually have indentations or holes or discolorations where the biggest blood vessels in the body were. See the indentation at the top? And there's that knife edge. It's sharp on one side and thicker on the other. This is, the hearts can be round, they can be clumpy, they can be oval, like I showed you, you know, in the beginning with the difference between like an elephant heart. You know, they vary dramatically, but their anatomical features stay the same. Some think that this might be a petrified heart. I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, so these are I'm gonna make a video soon that's just like the top 7 Heartstone features. Something short that's easy to share. And there's your indentations right where they should be. Like if you find these harp-shaped stones, you'll never find indentations at the bottom unless it's broken or chipped. It'll only be up here or on the side, which matches the heart as well. Yeah, I didn't wet that one before. Sorry, I skipped over it, but skipped it twice. There you have it. So there's the reddish blood still remaining, speckles of it throughout, and then the quartz for the chamber, the walls of the chamber itself, and the openings to the blood vessel. I don't even know what's next here. Ah. All right, let me check in with you guys, see how you're doing. So. Any questions so far? I haven't been able to do this and follow the chat very well. If there are any questions, post them and I'll just run with this now.
Greetings. Today's a very exciting day because finally, after almost 2 years of attempting to find a clinic that would allow me to do a CAT scan on some of these stones, I finally found one. Initially, I contacted different laboratories that had CAT scans and was rejected every time because when they found out that I wanted to do x-rays on non-human specimens, then they weren't interested in letting me come in. So I finally found a veterinarian clinic that has CAT scan and spoke with the lab technicians on the phone. And so I'm actually here today to have the CAT scans performed and see if the X-ray will reveal internal structures and layering of density and whatnot. So it's going to be very exciting to see if it reveals anything. Could be conclusive, combined with all of the already present anatomical features outside. And I just sent off a box of rocks about 3 days ago to a high-level private laboratory in the United States to have spectroscopy done and a variety of other techniques. So yeah.
Or so I thought. They never promised me spectroscopy. I thought that they would go through the rocks, with due diligence, and instead I got opinions and no data whatsoever. But they recorded my initial conversation with them and the conversation that the two of them had with each other after the fact, and they gave those to me. So I had that information. So I had every single thing that they claimed about these stones. I had in their own words, in conversation, and also in writing. And so I went through all of that information. And in my opinion, I debunked every single point that was made. Or debunk isn't maybe the right word, but offered some valid criticism. And they never approached or really addressed or looked into any of the research that I had already presented. So they basically made all of their assumptions from within their paradigm, and within their paradigm, something like what I'm showing, at least the conclusions that I'm drawing about what I'm showing, doesn't fit. It doesn't work. It can't exist. If it does, then major aspects of the whole geological narrative are, not accurate. And the gentleman who owns a lab, he wasn't about to go there. So
we'll see if this yields anything of interest. Fun to finally complete this thing that I wanted to do for a very long time.
Oh, just one last thing about that is the video that I made, which is a rebuttal video, is 3 hours long. It's called Paradigm Crushed. And my buddy Alex, who often thinks I talk too much, watched it, and he said it didn't seem like it was anywhere near 3 hours. So coming from him, that's a huge compliment. So it's a good watch, maybe my best video ever, or one of them. And it's kind of fun because it really illustrates aspects of the scientific method, willingness to ask questions, especially to question the unquestionables, and to approach it rationally, and to look for empirical evidence, and to look for patterns, and to, actually this is a good moment to talk about exactly that. Hold on, let's if we look at the scientific method here, make an observation. What do I see in nature? I see this big mountain. It looks like an elephant. But I couldn't possibly believe that it's an elephant, right? Well, what if it was an elephant? Is there any kind of a pattern that I can see that matches that of an elephant? Well, yeah, I got on Google Earth, and after about, an hour, I had a list of about 10 different features. There's there's the mountain itself. Like here, this whole section is broken away. So there's no ear or eye on this side of the mountain. So some people are like, oh, well, that's pareidolia. And the thing is that the mainstream geological narrative tells us that this whole section of the mountain has collapsed. And I believe that that's true, because this whole area here is just one massive runoff of broken stone, but not stone that they broke to make the terraces. This is just broken. So either there was some kind of a major, explosion or something. I mean, if this was an elephant, that's right where the breathing hole would be. And, the eye and the ear would be here, and that's all destroyed. But this part's left, winking at us. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Little one eye elephant symbolism. Yeah, so is that just like a weird glitch in Google? Well, when I did my second video on the eye and the ear,
it didn't do that. And I still have the footage, and I show that in the 5th video, Unveiling a Titan. The 5th video, I show where they went in and manually censored the mountain, in my opinion. Now there's other sections that have been censored. Like you can see here also, watch as I get in close, someone at Google would say, oh no, it's just a rendering error. Like, no, because if I stay out here, it stays there. It doesn't slowly go away like you just saw it do. So anyway, rib cage, same thing on the other side. Got the hints of a rib cage. The spine itself. I mean, I can show you a video of an elephant laying in, or a picture of an elephant laying in this position. That looks identical. Let me pull it up. So there's that. This is what an elephant carcass looks like. Sorry, I know it's gross. And when they lay down, so the isthmus would be right there. That's that little cave that I showed in the thumbnail of the 5th video. And there's one elephant picture I'm looking for in particular that when you see it, you see it. And I can't find it, of course. Oh. Anybody know anything about that picture? Is that something real? Sorry, I was going to show you basically a picture of an elephant laying in exactly the exact same position with the head slightly turned to the right. And so the cutout for the neck is here, and there's a curve right there in the same spot. And you've got the spine, you got the rib cage, and right here where the legs would be, there's a deep, deep canyon going right there. And can fly through it. And it just goes. So that's by far and away the deepest canyon on the whole mountain. And you can actually hike up that canyon. You can see the trail goes all the way up to the top of the mountain. It's an amazing mountain to hike. Yeah, so back to something I was doing. Close that one. Back to the laboratory. Oh, wait. Shoot. It's going so fast.
Very long time.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Here I was bringing in. I had to put the patients on the gurney. That's not the machine that they used. It was a CAT scan machine. And basically what a CAT scan is it's a regular X-ray machine, but it's got a swinging arm. And so it goes like that. And it takes a bunch of pictures, and then those are all fed into a computer, and they make a composite, which is 3D, that allows you to see outside and to manipulate around. I think the software, I wasn't planning on showing that in this video, and I think the software that I have was a trial, and it might not let me run it, but we'll see if it does. Yeah, so I brought them in, and then I had to wait there for a while, and then they eventually we brought the rocks up, and everyone was so paranoid because of COVID that you can see she's wearing a mask. Everyone was wearing masks and looking at me weird because I'm there. It was a vet, Yeah, so I didn't ask to go into the room where the machine was, and I really should have, because afterwards he was like, "Oh, you should have asked, and you could have come in," and I felt like an idiot. But 400 euros to have these done, and unfortunately, as I suspected from the beginning, this is just some. Oh, it's going down slow. As I suspected from the beginning, it was a little too dense for the CAT scan to really pick up stuff. You can see the openings. Let me show them here. Come full circle. Oh, this is a good picture. So this is that cutout. And this is something I didn't mention for those who aren't familiar with this channel. After getting wise to just the whole structure and then thinking about the eye, what I did to approach it as scientifically as I could was I went to my anatomy books and I started looking at a lot of pictures online to try and find a bunch of anatomical features that I would expect to find inside of the eye. And that's exactly what I did. That's what the second video was about. And already in the second video, it was a complete mind blow because I felt like, I had such an accumulation. It was really already at the second video, it was a preponderance of evidence. But then the third video came about when I started thinking, well, there's this quarter moon shape here of a discoloration, and everywhere the gray limestone breaks away, it exposes this reddish part underneath, which I believe is the spongeous bone. And then right in there is the opening to a cave, and that cave goes in and down, and then it opens out into another section back here, which is called Cova del Middia, which means the cove of midday. So I didn't know about that. I found out by accident because I was looking for a trailhead to hike up, and I was planning on seeing if I could climb around on this to see if I could find any openings, but you really need climbing gear, harnesses, ropes, and all of that. But as I was looking for the trail name, I found out that there was a cave there, and not only was there a cave there, but it had been gone through thoroughly by a whole team of archaeologists that went in. And in the opener that I played to the video, you can see they did 3D mapping. They didn't just do 3D mapping of the interior, they filmed in 3D. So you can wear the glasses, which I still to this day have never done because I don't have any of those red and blue glasses. But if you wear those, you can literally fly through this thing in 3D. And there were a number of things that looked very much like the inner ear and specifically the cochlea, which is the spiral organ that allows us to hear the different frequencies. We have the semicircular canals, which are the 3 canals that we use to feel like any movement in your head. Your head moves, and then the liquid inside those canals follows after. And as it follows after, it bends and pushes against these little hair follicles that are actually neurons, and it stimulates that neural activity. So that's what our brain experiences as movement. So dizziness is experiencing that when there's no movement. That's like, there's a lot of different reasons that can happen. As a chiropractor, I get a lot of people who come in with headaches and dizziness and different problems, and it's related to that inner ear, oftentimes. Yeah. So what are the odds of that? I mean, that a whole team of archaeologists would go in and they found cave paintings. They found the remains of humans in there, several skeletons that they excavated. So I don't know if I think they theorized that they were buried up there. Someone wanted to bury the remains of their ancestor there or something, but who knows? Maybe they were cowering inside trying to survive a great flood or a great cataclysm. So yeah, it's a heck of a lot of coincidences lining up for this this mountain being more than just a lump of rock that formed over hundreds of millions of years of creatures dying and being laid down on the seafloor. All right. So, I asked, so going back to this, I thought of interesting questions. I formulated a hypothesis. What if this really was a Titan elephant? How would I go about determining if it was? How would I try and prove that? So I developed testable predictions, just like in the eye. I've done it a number of times now. And I went and I gathered data to test whether those predictions were accurate. And boy, oh boy, did I find corroborating evidence that didn't require a whole lot of mental gymnastics or, flights of fancy to say, hey, there's a direct link between these two things, the idea and what I was finding on the ground. So I developed some general theories, and then in the course of studying the mountain, and you're not even seeing what I'm doing. I did it again, didn't I? There we go. So thought of an interesting question, formulated a hypothesis, developed testable predictions, gathered data, to see whether I could confirm or reject that hypothesis. And then, this has been happening ever since, this feedback loop. And I already have, expressed my general theories in a number of videos. For people who are short on time, Petrified Titans and Organs, parts 1 and 2, the parts 1 is the discoveries. It's like 25 minutes, and it's just summarizing all of the different things that I found with both the mountain and the heartstones. I found a bunch of stuff since then also, which I'll be sharing in future videos. And then part 2 is the how and why, and that goes into my theories about boiled egg theory, which is this idea that as the outer portion of the body, and this doesn't apply to Montgo, it applies to smaller creatures because they would be far more affected by whatever the blast was. But as the outer portions of the body are being destroyed, I hypothesize that the inner organs, which are wrapped in their own fascial sacs, these fatty sacs, the heart is the thickest of the fatty sacs, so that's going to be most likely to be preserved. And so if you think of a pressure cooker, you've got the outer body, you have the greater omentum, which is the pleura is another word for it, which is the chamber of the chest and the abdominal cavities. And the organs are floating in those, each surrounded in their own protective layer. So I hypothesize as the outer portions of the body are being destroyed, the inner portions are boiling like crazy. And then if you think of an egg boiling in the water, the shell of the egg would be the equivalent of the fatty sac of the pericardium or the other organs, fascial layers. And then those are going to get harder and harder and harder, just like an egg. So then a lot of people ask me the question, well, what about the bones? What about the long bones and so the arms and the legs? Why aren't we finding these everywhere? Why are there millions or trillions of petrified organs and no bodies? And it was really puzzling because clearly the empirical evidence is there, and I was finding it in droves and I was reporting on it. So that was also confirming this. I had a hypothesis. I developed testable predictions. I went out live in the field, and I figured if this is true, it should be repeatable, and I should be able to go out and find a bunch more. And so I made this video doing exactly that. I found a dozen at least in about 10 minutes filming live. And then when I was editing the video later, I went back, and as I'm pausing the video, I'm like, oh, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. And, it's just like the odds become astronomical. The more detailed, specific criteria you add to just a random rock that you're looking to find, the more difficult it should be to find something like that. And it's not difficult at all. I showed you those two from this evening that I found. Let's see, here we go. So I was showing you the synchronicity. This I found yesterday, and it's really, I was going to show pictures, but I'm not going to go looking for them now. But I found this. I was walking, and I was very, I was kind of emotional because it was sunset, and it was an absolutely beautiful summer night, and I had been inside working all day, and I took this sunset walk, and it was getting dark, and I was just thinking about all this research in the channel and thinking about this live stream that I was going to do, and and I just, sometimes it just feels like, my God, what have I gotten myself into? You know, it's just so out there. And it, you know, the likelihood of this ever being confirmed in any way by mainstream science is slim. But as I was walking, I looked up in the sky and I saw the moon, and I just felt this overwhelming rush of energy and emotion. And I looked up and I asked God, like, am I doing what you want me to do? Am I on the right track? And I looked down, and this was the only rock on the road. And it's again one of these, and it was run over by a car. So you had these tire tracks going across, and then it's got all these skid marks from the tire. So somebody like peeled out on this rock. And yeah, and it's another one of these little beauties that came, and it was the only rock on the street. I mean, come on, what are the odds? So I asked if anyone had questions before, and I guess I got to go back a ways to see people dropping off. I've been talking too long. 2 hours and 30 minutes. I guess that's a pretty good first live stream. Just reading the notes here. Oh yeah, it was the CT scan I was on, right? That's what I knew there was something big I was forgetting. Okay. There's a bunch of people who've been waiting a long time for me to show this. And the reason I've taken so long to show the CAT scan is because I don't feel qualified to know what it's showing very little as far as the inside of the stone, because CAT scan just doesn't do well with the density of stone. You know, if you think about an X-ray and bones, regular bones, like, oh, I broke my arm, and they take an X-ray and you can actually see the fracture on the X-ray, because there's white, which is called radioluminescence, I think. And so then where there's a fissure or a crack or a break in the bone, it'll be black because there's no density there. So, but there's a translucency to the bone that you don't get on a CAT scan when you're looking at rock. So, yeah. What about the sign on the gate? Oh yeah, that was an amazing synchronicity as well. I'm going to do a whole live stream just on synchronicities because there's so many of them. Yeah, so let me go back to this and minimize that. And I need to get my desktop back. I haven't even looked at this software for a long time. So we'll see if it lets me use it or not. CT scan, CD viewer, requires what? Not it, sorry. Give me a moment. That was not the one.
Greetings. Today's a very exciting day.
Yes, I said that already. Okay. DICOM, here we go. CD viewer, it's telling me. No, I'm going to have to get software that, wait, maybe I, oh no. No, it's like hundreds of pictures and the software links them all together. So yeah, there was a medical doctor who reached out to me after seeing my videos, and he's not a heart surgeon, but he's assisted in a lot of heart surgery. And when he saw the things that I was doing about the rocks, he was blown away because he recognized the anatomy right away. So he reached out to me, and we started communicating, and I was going to interview him on the channel and go through the CAT scan with him. And as a result of the lockdowns and the whole COVID thing, he ended up just running into one problem after another because he was a little too weak and a little too strong-minded to tolerate the bullshit that we've all been subjected to for the last couple of years. And so he was no, it's not Tommy from Texas. It's somebody else whose name I can't mention because he's since come under a lot of fire and attack, and yeah. So basically, he wasn't ready to put his name or his face to it, but he looked briefly at the CAT scan and said that you can see the chambers there, even though they're very small because the vast majority of it is stone. But you could already kind of tell that by looking at the rocks and manipulating the CAT scan in 3D rotation. But I do want to show everybody what that looked like. I did have a video where I just showed it real briefly a while back, but I don't remember which one it was. So sorry about that. I can't do that this time. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to share today. This is going to be a much better approach for me because the videos, even though it's fun when they're really polished and put together well, they take me far too long, and so I end up just having a backlog of all kinds of footage and data that I want to share that I don't get to. So more good things to come. Yeah, any questions that anyone would like to ask before I sign off? Thank you all for being here. There's still almost 60 people in the chat, so I didn't bore everybody. That's good. My pleasure. Thank you all for coming. And yeah, well, to be continued. Thank you all very much. And until next time, take care. Keep your heart soft. They work better that way. Wasn't sure which camera to look at.